Welcome to today's learning session on the Sustainable Crewing Guidelines. For those of you who don't know, my name is Harpa and I'm a project manager here in the Human Sustainability at the Global Maritime Forum. First of all, we're thrilled to see so many of you who are here for our first session, and we hope you'll enjoy the session today equally. There are also a few who are joining who haven't been at our sessions before, so I want to just give a very brief intro to our basically the history of this a little bit. Let's see. Okay, and the slide won't change. First of all, please make sure that we can see who you are and preferably which company you come from. It's just to get a better discussion going in the breakout rooms. It's always better to know who you're talking to and be able to refer to that person. Let's see. So the Diversity at Sea project started already 3 years ago, so November 2022. And it started with started with a study that led to the publishing of the report of 15 pain points for women, with 12 companies from the All Aboard Alliance participated. Then we had in a pilot study where they were asked, where the crews were asked into many of the issues that surfaced during the 15 pain points for women at sea report. A total of 13 vessels where seafarers were interviewed regularly over a period of time, participated in this research, and we accumulated a lot of data from the crews across the 13 vessels. We also ran a separate study alongside this among seafarers who were not working for one of the 12 companies. So we wanted to establish a benchmarking for the data that we gathered during the pilot study. And after going through the data and co-designing the results together with the companies and, for example, the pilots leads here present today and some seafarers who also joined, we came up with the Sustainable Crewing Guidelines, the 9 guidelines that we are here to talk about today, or 3 of them. And our goal is that these guidelines can help companies improve some of the issues that affect sustainable crewing and results in hopefully better health and safety, as well as employee retention. And we also plan to publish an uptake report next summer, but Suzanne is going to talk about that in a little while. For anyone missing a copy of the Sustainable Crewing Guidelines, my colleague Hannah is going to put a link in our chat so that you all can get your own copy. And today we're lucky enough to have presenters from 3 of the companies that participated in our pilot study. And they're going to tell us a little bit more about one guideline each and how their company has approached each guideline. And the purpose is to provide sort of more insight into the policies and procedures and how these can support the guidelines. But first, I want to hand over to Suzanne for a little while to discuss where we are going on with all this. What's our next plan? Suzanne.
Yes. Thank you so much. One of the things that have been exciting about this whole journey is the ability to learn from each other, but also to shine a light a little bit on those companies that are doing much more than other companies. And as part of the discussion with the committee amongst all the companies involved, we decided that we wanted to, as a natural next step after producing the Sustainable Crewing Guidelines, which show what good looks like, we want to also show a little bit more depth as to what are the different companies doing. So for this reason, we agreed that we would do an uptake report approximately a year after the launch of the guidelines, to really show what good looks like by inviting companies to share how they have implemented the guidelines, so that we can give transparency to the companies that are already doing a lot, and hopefully also use this to drive mutual accountability across the industry. And the questions that we want to use for the production of the uptake report, they're already in the guidelines on page 26 and 27. So the ambition is that we know that no company is able to implement necessarily all of the guidelines. So this is not a competition as to who have been able to implement the most guidelines, but it's a matter of learning how they have done, and whether or not, and how we can learn from that journey. So obviously we we hope that obviously all the pilot companies will be willing to participate in the uptake report, and we're inviting everyone else who might be interested in getting an opportunity to share what they're doing, because obviously it will be an opportunity to shine a bit and showcase to the broader industry what each company is doing within each of the 9 guidelines. So what we will do is we will open up for submissions in February next year, where we will invite companies to answer the indicator questions, and we'll use that to publish our Sustainable Growing Guidelines uptake report before the summer of next year. We will talk a bit more as to the process and how we want to do this in the next webinar or learning session, but wanted to make sure that you are all aware of this ambition, and we look forward to working closely with you on this over the months to come. Unless there are any questions to any of this, I'll hand back to Harper.
Great. Well, there's nothing else to do than jump into it. Today, we are focusing on the following 3 guidelines, and we're lucky enough to have the presenters here with us today from Gaslock. There's Gina Sambecki, who is recruitment manager. We have Maria Scarvelli, who is crew manager at Dorian. And we have Shivas Kapoor, head of crewing at Hafnia. And today we are looking into PPE. The guideline ensure appropriate equipment and facilities for all. The contract side, offer flexible contract lengths and respect contract terms. And finally, provide paid parental leave, where we're going to talk about Hafnia's approach to maternity leave. So I think without further ado, Gina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Harpa. Good day to all. It is nice to see you, to see most of you again. So let me start. Consider a workplace where inclusion is not optional but fundamental, where every individual, regardless of background or role, is recognized and empowered. At Gaslock, this is not just an inspiration, it is a strategic commitment long ago. My focus today is on Guideline 4, as Harpa said, ensuring appropriate equipment and facilities for all. This is more than a technical equipment. It's about creating an environment where every seafarer can work safely and confidently. So I will share with you, how we've turned this principle into meaningful actions across our vessels. Let me start with sharing what truly defines Gaslock structure. No, Harpa. Okay, thanks. Gaslock is committed to building a workplace that is diverse, fair, and inclusive. Why? Because diversity isn't just a value, it's essential for operational excellence. As a global maritime company, we operate across cultures and regions. We embrace the unique experiences and backgrounds of our people because inclusion drives safer operations, better decision-making, and stronger partnerships worldwide. Through our ESG program and E&I policies, inclusivity and equitable working conditions have become a cornerstone, let's say, of our employee strategy. Our goal is simple: create a culture where every individual feels valued, respected, and empowered to contribute their unique perspective. Next slide. But how have we turned this commitment into action, let's say? It starts with listening. The discovery phase was all about understanding the needs of our people on board. We conducted regular reviews and one-on-one interviews with female crew members, followed by extensive in-person debriefings. We did this because female seafarers can face different situations and challenges on board, and we won't understand these differences unless we ask directly. By talking with them separately, we get honest feedback, and we might not hear in mixed groups things about safety, teamwork, living conditions, or even career opportunities. We analyzed engagement surveys along gender lines to identify gaps and encourage anonymous feedback from the entire crew. This wasn't just data collection, it was about building trust and ensuring every voice mattered. And this helps the company in very practical ways. We spot issues early, we improve retention, we make our vessels safer and more inclusive, and we strengthen our reputation as a good place to work, let's say. In short, listening to our female crew gives us insights that make the whole operation stronger. And finally, we consulted with senior management and crew representatives to refine these needs. Next slide. Once we understood the needs, we moved to action. And that started with a pilot vessel. The Gaslock Winchester became our testing ground for inclusive practices. First, PPE. We introduced equipment in inclusive shapes and sizes, including user-friendly two-piece options and boiler suits we didn't have before. And these changes began here, but the plan is to roll them across the fleet. Second, facilities. We designated separate bathrooms and changing rooms, added female toilets and changing rooms on new buildings, and started implementing separate laundries in 5 vessels. We already have finalized this, and this initiative will continue during our dry docks whenever it's feasible. Third, appropriate conditions for menstruation. Menstrual products such as pregnancy tests, gender-specific medication, and disposal bags are now available in female cabins. And finally, ambitious gender composition. We now have female crew members in various ranks and introduced a buddy system to support integration. This pilot wasn't just about equipment; it was about setting a new standard of inclusivity. Next slide. Of course, implementing these changes across a global fleet came with challenges. As every transformation becoming with challenges, and ours was no exception, of course. This was a collaborative process involving senior management, marine HR, and seafarers across ranks. We started with pilot implementations to test the feasibility and gather feedback before scaling up. Allocating time, funds, and personnel was a challenge, of course. To address this, we prioritized initiatives with the highest impact and rolled out changes in phases. Key methods included awareness campaigns, presentations at crew conferences and shipshore engagement meetings, targeted training, and continuous communication to ensure alignment and address concerns promptly. This wasn't just problem solving, it was building a framework of sustainable changes. Next slide, the impact. What is the impact? It goes far beyond facilities and equipment. Gaslock introduced these initiatives in structured phases to ensure consistent adoption across the fleet. what started as facility upgrades has evolved into a broader cultural shift where trust, safety, and inclusion are embedded in every practice. Our focus on dialogue and awareness has created a stronger sense of shared responsibility for inclusion and respect across the fleet. And this is how we move from compliance to culture and from isolated actions to lasting change. Concluding, inclusion is not just a destination, it is a journey. At Gaslock, we are proud enough of the progress we have made, but we know there's more to do. Together, we're building a workplace and a fleet where everyone can thrive together. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Gina. That was very informative. I think we'll just jump on to the next one. Are you ready, Maria?
Yes.
Great.
Sure.
Then let's go over and look at some contracts.
Okay, let's do. Good day, everyone. Hello from my side. My name is Maria Scarvelli. I'm the head of the Crew Department. Before we begin discussing our approach around the flexible crew contract length, I'd like first to provide some framework around who we are and what guides us. So our mission statement is to provide for clean, reliable, safe, trouble-free transportation. And our values pertain respecting the customer, commitment to quality, appreciation of each and every worker with the company, contribution to community, environmental sustainability, as well as having a tradition of hard work and modesty is actually what builds the framework that we work on, how we approach people and how we have developed our crewing policies and continuous development of our crewing strategies. So our people are both on board and ashore, are at the center of everything that we do. Harpa, if you could please go to the next slide. Thank you. So our commitment is building a strong and inclusive workforce. And to achieve this pertains competitive compensation, having development programs in place, providing individuals with career opportunities, and in overall making the seafarers and the office personnel as well feeling supported and having the means so they can be able to thrive. So with this foundation, let's move on to our next slide. We will be now approaching how we work around flexible crew contract length. So there is a framework around the contract policy that we have, which is based on cultural preferences of our seafarers, as well as taking into consideration the industry sector principles. While we do have a framework around it, at the same time, we allow room to our seafarers coming forward with individual requests. So how actually does this work in practice? We can have requests for a service extension, which is usually linked with individuals' need for additional financial support or to achieve more service in order to obtain a higher license or in order to be eligible to achieve a promotion within the company's development plan. On the other hand, we can have requests for early sign-off for shorter contract, and these can be known prior to the seafarer's embarkation, or it can be unscheduled and be announced during the service. So how do we manage these requests? There is a standard review process which provides involvement of the vessel's management team, office, head of departments, as well as cooperation with our manning agents, because at the same time, it is a priority to minimize any interruption when it comes to our crew rotation plan. The process that we follow is fair and transparent because we do find important that information and feedback reaches our seafarer timely, and there is a clear structured process for everyone available. So how do we stay aligned with what our crew needs rather than guessing what works better for our seafarers? We have an open loop communication with our crew. We get feedback through our marine agents. It can also be through officers' seminars, crew workshops, as well as feedback that we get from our superintendents or office personnel who occasionally and frequently visit the vessels. So this is bringing us to ask the big why. Why is it important? What is the benefit? So clearly the benefit is scoring high when it comes to seafarer satisfaction, as well as achieving good towards high retention rates, which is a KPI. Building strong relationships with our seafarers and looking after the well-being. So to wrap it up and conclude, it is important having a structured method around the crew contracts, but at the same time, it needs to include a flexible approach so seafarers can feel supported, they can feel valued, because at the end, it builds on the trust and the loyalty that they have with the company. And the individuals feel empowered.
All right.
So that's it from our side.
Yes. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you to Harpa.
The last presentation today is with Shivas Kapoor from Hafnia. But instead of going on to slides, Shivas and I are going to have a more like a talk.
Yes.
So, Shivas, thank you for coming and telling us a little bit about Hafnia's maternity leave. What can you tell us about the strategy that Hafnia has developed on maternity leave? Like, can you talk us through the process that led to your current strategy?
Sure. So we actually introduced our maternity policy sometime in late 2021. That was around 4 years ago. And at that time, we were very sure that this is something, we must address, if we want to support women's career at sea, and if we want to see women taking senior roles. Because, when we look at the research studies available, it is very evident that most women, they quit sailing after maternity. And what is lacking here is the support from the companies, the clear pathway, because of course they don't know, whether the company will welcome them after they take a long break, how is going to be the transition and what can they do in between, to still stay with the maritime. So we try to address that part. So that is how we came up with the maternity policy. We made sure that, it is simple, you know, the women, they see value in that, and we are not pushing them to come back to sea. So we just let them, stay as long as they want, and we tell them that when you come back, we will ensure that, we will send you on board in an additional position so that you familiarize yourself, and we also allow you some shorter contracts until your child is 3 years old, so that you can manage your work and your family.
Can I ask you, did it take a long time to develop this policy? I know for some companies it may seem like a huge mountain to climb.
Well, to be honest, of course, there was a lot of thought process. So we started with doing a survey because we had quite a lot of women seafarers already in our pool. So we did a survey. We spoke to them and asked them, what can we do in this area? And the challenge we also found was that there are not many benchmarks available, as the industry is still evolving in this area. So after getting a lot of feedback, back and forth discussion with our seafarers within our diversity group, where we all meet once a month, involving the senior management team in Hafnia.
Yeah.
That is when we actually came up addressing this.
All right. But was it complicated to implement the maternity policy?
To be honest, it was not complicated. Of course, there are not many women. Of course, as Hafnia, we employ more than 600 women across our 110 ships. That's about 13%. So, of course, we had to do some sort of checking, operational challenges, whether we will be able to manage our, seafarer development if suddenly so many goes on maternity. But then we did all that check and we were ready to implement. So if you ask me how long it took for us, it was roughly about 3 to 4 months when we actually, from the time we started discussing and when we came up with a final policy on this.
Okay. That's not a very long time, actually. But what would you say the impact of the strategy has been?
Well, the impact, we are still seeing the impact. Impact has been really, really positive, because, and I think the most positive feedback that we get from our seafarers is that they are actually aware. One is their job is secure because it's like, communication that we do with them. We tell them when you go for maternity, you can take as long as you want, and when you come back, we will either try to, if you can't join us immediately, we will try to offer you some of the roles ashore if it is available, and we did do it with a lot. And then when you come back, we will give you sufficient time in additional rank to settle down. So these were the worry, actually. The worry was around this only. And then when the child is young, some of them, because we also have a lot of ratings who are on longer contracts, they were also very curious about, can we go for a shorter contracts? And when we put that in our policy, they are very contented. That really supports their career. So it is, I mean, positivity is there in terms of the retention, and
Yeah.
we also get a lot of feedback from external stakeholders, academies, that, whatever we have made is actually a differentiator in the industry, right? Because this is a major issue in the industry, lack of awareness on maternity.
Yeah, exactly. But what about challenges? Like
Well,
every yin has
challenges.
a yang, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So challenges initially when we were trying to implement, we didn't have much benchmark available because nobody really could say, okay, this is something that works. So the little challenge I would say is coming to a conclusion on what should that be. Like, we have 18 weeks of paid maternity leave. Why 18 weeks? So the approach that we had was, we provide the same to our office staff, and we go with the same approach, you know.
Mhm.
So, and then it was also about replacing some of the senior roles, because we have a lot of women on senior roles as well. So suddenly when you see a few going on maternity, how are you going to replace those? So we were a bit cautious on that approach, on how do we then cater to replacing them for a while. And that's about it. And also, one thing more I forgot to mention is the awareness, explaining this to all the stakeholders, the seafarers, the male seafarers, right? That was, I would say, a challenging part. Telling a male seafarer that, we are coming up with maternity and not paternity at this point in time, that was one of the challenge. Talking to our marine and technical departments, talking to our manning officers so that they can explain to so many men out there and also women, that this is the policy we are coming with, so that they are very clear about it and how can they apply, and also about making one point of contact so that they can reach out to that person, whenever they have any question or they need any support. So finalizing those things, I would say, was a bit of a challenge, but then we came out quite strong in that, and it was very positive. It is very positive.
Yeah, definitely. How many years has it been now since you implemented it?
I would say 3.5, 4 years now. So yeah, about 3.5 years, to be
And how
honest.
many Hafnia children do you now have?
Oh yeah, I can tell you that we have about, not so many, we have about 8
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
and there are about 5 in the making. So
Oh, okay.
yes.
That's all right. Well, I think that concludes our presentations. Thank you very much, Shivas. That was very
Thanks, Safa.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice to have these discussions across. Yeah.
That's how we feel. And I want to take the discussion a little bit further because we want to, as we've said before, we want to try also to create a discussion and create a community and bring people from the industry together to talk about these things. So that's why we have set up these breakout rooms, because we want to hear what's going on out there, what your thoughts are, how your company is looking into these things. So that's why we're now going to divide ourselves down to breakout rooms. There are around 4 to 6 people in each room. And we're putting a little bit of pressure on you because we're not going to monitor you or or make sure you do your job. So how this works is that Hannah is copying the questions into the chat. You have around 20 minutes for each breakout room, so plenty of time to get acquainted with one another, knowing who is there, and both discuss the presentations and the 3 guidelines, but also, and maybe more importantly, how does your company deal with these things? What have you experienced out there? You'll need to appoint somebody from your group to report back in the plenary later. Let me see. Can everybody see the questions in the chat?
Yes.
Yeah. And then last but not least, like, is there a question that you would like to ask the presenters about from the presentations? But other than that, I'm just gonna say, have fun, and I look forward to the plenary later.
So we will now all be.
We will all now be
in
divided.
groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see that. This. Okay, so I think Christian Maria wanted also to join a room.
And me too, if you
Yeah.
for some
What-
reason I can't.
Shivas, would you like to join a room or just take a break? You want to? Yes, then Shivas also wants to join a chat room.
If possible, yeah.
Yes.
Via Lugo.
Sure. One thing. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, Anna. Good to see you. Hi, Tanner. Hi, Alice. Do you? Oh, I was just saying hi to everyone. Do you-
Harpa.
Yes.
Harpa.
Yes. Hello, Shivas.
Harpa, are you listening to me?
Oh.
Hello.
Take a round of introductions. Who wants to start?
I can start. So my name is Jana Lally. I'm the alternate crew manager and FAIR officer of Dorian and Cuisine, where FAIR stands for Fairness, Accessibility, Inclusivity, and Representation. And we're together we have been members of all of the Alliance from the beginning, and we also participated to the pilot project. And we're happy to be here and continue doing anything we can for our supervised well-being.
I'll go next,
Yeah,
Susan.
go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Linda Murray.
Harpa.
My name's coming up with an LM60, I'm not sure what that's about, but anyway.
Hello.
Director of HR for AET. We're part of the MISC group. So very pleased to be here and to continue to contribute and learn as much as we can. So thank you.
Thank you.
Can you hear me, Gina?
Go
So
ahead.
I'm based in London. I work for NOL Group. I'm in the sustainability and environment team, and basically in London we're looking to expand a bit more on the social sustainability side and learn as much as we can so we can implement these practices into our seafaring community at NOL.
Dana, you want to go next?
Hi.
Can you hear me, Gina?
It's Tanner based in London.
Yes.
Yes. Hi, sorry.
Hi.
I was trying to get my mic to work. For some reason, I don't think it worked. So, do you need to go or?
I need to go in
focusing on
5 minutes, no, less than 5 minutes, in 3 minutes. So
But they won't be back until 15 minutes, so you
I
can go if you
know,
want to. Yeah.
green gas emissions
I know,
Uh,
I know.
of vessels.
but thank you.
I
It's
have
really
another
insightful.
presentation to make.
You got them lined up today, huh?
Nutan, you wanna go
We have
next?
a town hall, versus town hall for 3 days in a row now, starting from yesterday, and I'm presenting again. So
When are you gonna do your work?
You're muted.
uh, after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, as I did yesterday.
Oh, fantastic.
So
Busy times, huh? No, but thank you so much. It was really insightful.
it's nice to hear. So thanks, thank you again. Thank you, Harpa. I know that you will read my message. Thank you, Christian,
Of
and
course.
see you next time.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
And see you in the big room.
Slukker du for lyden?
Sorry, det havde jeg slet ikke tænkt på.
Nej,
Men det er god diskussion.
det er fint.
Hi, Arpa.
Hi, Nathan. Just waiting for everybody to return from their breakout rooms. So I think we're all here. Did you have fun? I was listening in on Suzanne's group. Couldn't help it. We're in the same room. But I could hear there were some good discussions going. Maybe we should just start with the plenary, maybe with Suzanne's group. Who? Linda? I heard Linda being designated.
Yes, I was volunteered. So hi, everyone. I'm Linda. Apologies, I think I joined a little late, so maybe missed the earlier introductions. So representing Suzanne's group, we talked quite a bit about PPE. And I think the whole piece on the two pieces for women has evolved in terms of design, has become much more topical in terms of being more comfortable. But the big point I picked up was that the safety aspect of the two-piece, and a number of organizations around our group were talking about moving to two pieces that connect to ensure safety of the top running up and exposing skin for burns, etc. So I think that was quite interesting. The other piece on the PPE was a general conversation around smaller shoe sizes and glove sizes, which we often don't think about. And that was also becoming something that a lot of the organizations are focusing on in ensuring they have that in stock. So PPE was very topical. It took up a lot of our time in plenary, in the breakout group. The second piece we talked about was parental leave. And again, a good example from Hafnia, which I think you all heard, but Dorian are also doing some good stuff in terms of allowing parental leave for both females and males. No policy as yet, but just a practice that has started. Generally, contracts wise, most of us are providing flexibility, but all trying not to change the contractual arrangement, but trying to work it on an exception basis. But I think we kind of believe the trend is moving towards being much more flexible in the contracts that we're offering, and we're seeing more of that coming through. I think that covered in general most of the conversations, but we had one quick question to the group, and this was to really understand from those who were already doing some great contractual parental leave and flexible contracts. How do you all manage continuity of contracts? So how does that feature in terms of all the different things we're trying to do with the overarch of continuity? So I think that was a big question. And Tana, please chip in if I didn't interpret that correctly.
No, thank you, Linda. I think just to give a little bit more context, obviously we don't run ships or manage ships, but we have great engagement with the community. So often the feedback is when we ask a question about the contract length and security, that goes down into the financial security of seafarers. Like that's the core of the problem. So hence, when seafarer is employed or deployed to a good company and good vessel, they would like to stay longer. And so because they don't have security to come back or sort of reassign to another ship within that really good company, so they don't want to lose it. But on the contrary, some communities, they would like to have longer contracts than others. That's the preference. So I was just curious, during your sort of feedback and surveying process, how was the sort of reaction from your seafarers towards having flexibility of contracts instead of continuous contracts, like annual contracts or a couple of years length of contracts? So all the onboard time and ashore time can be adjusted, and there is security for them to go back and reassign to another ship within the fleet. Thank you.
So I'll be picking up this one. Thank you for your comments and for the question. What I can share based on our experience is that though our seafarers are working with a short-term contract basis rather than a long-term one, it has never been brought up in terms of discussions during surveys or during conferences that we have with our seafarers about not feeling this sense of stability, of this sense of security, that someone is feeling left out, that someone doesn't know the schedule. I believe that this is connected with the fact that we have a rotation plan. So we work 2 up to 3 months ahead when it comes to all ranks and prepare ourselves. So this way, the seafarer, when he disembarks from the vessel, he can reach out through the manning agent, because we work with our manning agents, and have an estimate about what's the next vessel, when is the next vessel schedule, even which vessel it can be. For sure, we can come across changes of our planning, because sometimes, of course, there can be reasons pushing us to make some adjustments, make some change. However, typically speaking, every seafarer can plan for their vacation ashore based on this planning ahead. This is something that brings, I think, a very good sense of stability. We also have a bonus scheme around rejoining, which is also a very, helpful tool, building on the trust and, again, the certainty, knowing that the company is waiting for me, and when I rejoin, I will be also, there's a bonus incentive built around it. So this way, with this structured way, knowing, having seafarers know when is the expected onboarding and more or less what is the vacation plan based on the contract length, is how we manage the contracts.
All right. Was that it from the first group? Should we have the second group? Do we have a representative from group number 2? No? No one? Hannah, you were in the second group. Did you was anybody there who was, or does anybody want
to listening in? So whoever is the bravest, please go ahead.
You didn't pick, nobody was picked as alrighty. I can also I see that Mansi was a part of that group. Sorry for putting you on the spot, Mansi, but I see your name here on the list.
Yeah, no worries. Because I was not designated, I did not take copious notes, so please bear with me and feel free to jump in, everyone else in my group. I think it's also just we didn't know what our group number was, so please, there were other people
sorry,
much chattier than I was. Cordula, actually, if you want to jump in, you had a good question about the maternity leave from Hafnia.
Yeah, I can jump in here. So hello everyone. Basically, I think our group talked most of the time about the last guideline about maternity. I think about 95%, if not 100%. And we had a question when it comes to the shorter contracts you're offering to women seafarers when they want to come back back to sea until the child is, I think you said 3 years old. How short is short? So can you define what is the contract length you offer to women seafarers when they come back in terms of shorter contracts?
Sure. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's a very good question. See, the thing is because we employ all ranks and we have senior officers who are on 3 months on and off, juniors on 4 to 5 months, and ratings on 8 to 9. So it very much depends on whom you're dealing with. So for example, if you're dealing with a rating, if we try to put something there that okay, until your child is 3 years old, your contract is as short as 2 months or 3 months. Everyone have their own requests, their own requirements. So that flexibility, we are allowing. So that's the discussion we have with the women seafarers, and accordingly we are accommodating their request, right? So we have some who wants to go for a 3 months contract, say for example a rating, because she also wants to be financially sound and she's requesting for 2 months. We also have senior officers who says I would like to go for maybe 6 weeks, you know and the next ship, and then the following ship I can go for 2 months. So that flexibility we provide, so that's why we have not put down anything.
Okay, clear. And then we actually had a follow-up question on this one. How
Okay.
many of the women seafarers that decide to go back to sea for shorter contracts actually take you up on that offer? I mean, what is the number or percentage of people that choose going back to sea versus I prefer some shore-based project in the office, let's say? How many decide to
So
make use of that offer?
so far we have 6 or 7, okay, who have chosen to take the shorter contracts, and then I have two who wants to still hold on and say that she will be more than happy to help us for any project that we have ashore. So majority that we have on maternity at present. Then there are a few who have not yet delivered, so we will see how that goes. But the feedback that we get, because we always send these surveys, so the feedback that we get from women seafarers is that this is the best for them, giving them the flexibility to return to sea on a shorter contract until the child is 3. So we see them coming back after 1 year, 1.5 year, and then they are opting for this shorter contract. This is the experience we have so far. Of course, not very high numbers, but it's not very long ago that we have basically finalized the policy, and we see women actually entitled for this maternity, because there's also an entitlement, right? You have to sail at least 3 contracts to be eligible for maternity leave as well, right?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So, but basically, majority prefers to go back to sea rather than
Yes.
staying ashore.
Yeah, we
Okay.
only have two. We only have two, and they have also assured that they will want to go back to sea, and we are not pushing them to go to sea. That's how we made our policy. So you can take whatever time even if you come back to us say after 4 years, and you are communicating with us, we will help you, for you to return back. We will not push you, but of course you then lose that flexibility of a shorter contract because your child is already maybe 4 years old or something.
Yeah. Okay, clear. Thank you.
But that does sound like a high number. If 6 or 7, if we have 8 Hafnia children, and
Oh yes.
6 or 7 have already chosen to go back. That's a very high number. And I can also mention that when we did our pregnancy at sea interviews, we both spoke to women who had children and also who were expecting, and many of them had both returned back after giving birth. And I remember women who also were pregnant, at least 1 or 2 who were pregnant, who said, I'm not done with shipping. I'm going back. So it's definitely something that women want, but they need the option or opportunity to do so. We only had these 2 groups. Is there anything else from the second group? Any other feedback or discussions that came up?
Can I have a question?
Yes, please.
Following on the last point of discussion. In the past, it was very common to see families on board of vessels sailing with their partners. Do you guys have or accommodate those requests, either sort of bringing partners and children on board during the period of contracts, full term or partially. Obviously, there are lots of elements in terms of like sort of being able to say yes to that request, like accommodation spaces available. So, how is your experience, and how do you approach to those?
We in Hafnia, basically, if I can start, we actually encourage our seafarers to bring their family on board. So we have had also 3 women seafarers who have brought their husbands and their children on the ship. Of course, you need to have your spouse who needs to take care of your child, right? So we'll of course not have a woman seafarer or a male seafarer just bringing their child on board, because then they have to do their work. There needs to be a spouse who can take care of the kid. But we always encourage, and this has been there for very long. And for some nationalities, it's a very motivating thing, for their family to come on board.
Sure, that's really great. But just out of curiosity, do you offer that to all ranks or certain ranks?
We presently offer that to all officers.
Okay.
And we are, to be honest, and we are also considering this for our ratings. But at this stage, we offer this to all the officers.
Excellent.
As you said, have to be also mindful of the LSA capacity on the ship, right? The life support capacity, accommodation.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Anything else? Otherwise, I think we should just go back here, because we are approaching the end. If there are no further sort of questions or feedback, we have our next session on January 20th, where we will cover the last remaining guidelines. I will send invitations out, probably, either on either side of New Year's. I wanted to ask you, if you already know you're going to join, you can just drop me a line. But I wanted to ask you to give us a little bit of feedback on the session. This is this is probably the shortest survey in the world. Hannah is also posting a link in the chat, so you can also click on that, especially if you're already on your phone, maybe. But we just want to hear what you think, and if this is doing enough, if we should be doing something differently. But it would be great to hear from you. Otherwise, I hope this was fun and interesting to you. I think it's been for us, definitely. We love to be a part of the discussion and hear what's going on out there. So basically, thank you for joining today. I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday. I see the sun has gone in hiding again. I was hoping it would show itself today, but apparently not. That's November in Copenhagen for you. Have a lovely afternoon or morning, wherever you are. And I hope I see you next time.